Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really going to get into the AJK State MDCAT for 2025. Think of this as your essential briefing.
Exactly. We're pulling out the key info you need, whether you're, a student aiming for medicine or dentistry in AJK, maybe a parent, or just curious about how it all works.
Yeah, because this test, it's more than just an exam, right? It's really the main gateway.
It absolutely is. It's the path to your future in these fields within AJK and maybe even outside AJK too. We want to break down the essentials so you feel prepared, but not overwhelmed.
Okay. And our information today, it comes from a pretty detailed guidance session, a webinar.
That's right. It was led by Dr. Muhammad Amir. He's on the advisory committee for the makers, and he gave a really comprehensive guide. We've basically distilled that down for everyone listening.
Perfect. So let's start at the beginning. For students maybe just starting to think about this, what is the AJK State MDCAT fundamentally? And why is it so important?
Well, simply put, it's the admission test. If you want to get into a MBBS or BDS program that's medicine or dentistry in AJK's medical and dental colleges, you have to take and pass this test.
Right. It's mandatory.
Absolutely mandatory. It happens once a year, and while it's part of a national process, we're focusing today specifically on the AJK side of things.
So for anyone finishing their FSC, their pre-medical studies, this is the big hurdle.
It's the key, yeah. And the whole point is to create a merit-based system.
Okay, merit-based? How does that work? It's not just this one test score then.
No, that's a really important point. Your final merit, it's actually a combination. It takes into account your marks from matric, that's 10th grade, your FSC pre-medical results, and your score on the MDC itself.
Ah, okay, so all three pieces matter.
Exactly. The MDTA acts as that standardized playing field, It lets everyone show what they can do under the same conditions, aiming for those spots in quality colleges.
Makes sense for fairness. So thinking about the test day itself, what's the format like? What should students expect?
Okay, so you've got 3 hours. That's the duration.
3 hours.
And in that time, you'll face 200 multiple choice questions, MCQs. And something to clear up it is paper-based for 2025.
Oh, good to know. So no computer screens involved this time around?
No, not this year. There was some talk maybe, but it's confirmed as paper-based. Pen and paper.
Okay, and the subjects? It's the usual science suspects, plus a little extra.
Pretty much. You've got the 4 big ones from FSC, biology, chemistry, physics, and English.
Right.
But then there's also logical reasoning that's thrown in to assess analytical skills.
Interesting. How does that break down question-wise? I imagine biology is pretty hefty.
It is, yeah. Biology has the most questions, 68 MCQs, which works out to about 34% of the exam. And actually, for biology, the syllabus has seen quite a few changes this year.
Oh, really? New stuff?
Yeah, new topics added, some older ones taken out. So paying attention to the new syllabus is crucial there. Chemistry is next, with 54 MCQs, that's 27%. And it's seen some changes too, additions and removals. Physics also has 54 questions, another 27%, but the good news there, maybe, is that the syllabus is almost unchanged.
That's helpful. What about English and logical reasoning?
English is smaller, 18 MCQs, so about 9%. It's mostly comprehension, reading passages and answering questions. And logical reasoning is just 6 MCQs, so 3%, focusing on critical thinking.
Okay, that gives a really clear weighting. Now, scoring is their negative marking. Do you lose points for wrong answers? That's always a worry.
Great question. And good news here, no, there is absolutely no negative marking.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so the advice is definitely attempt every question. You don't lose anything by guessing if you're unsure. The exam, by the way, is conducted by the PMDC, the Pakistan Medical and Dental Council.
Right. So attempt everything. That's key advice. Who's actually eligible to take this test? FSC completion is the main thing.
Yes, you need your FSC pre-medical qualification. But there's a provision for students who are waiting for their second-year results.
Ah, the result-awaiting students.
Exactly. If your second-year results aren't out yet, you can still apply based on your first-year marks. It keeps the door open.
That's really helpful for students in that position. Okay, let's talk timing. Dates are crucial here. When does everything kick off for 2025?
Right, the schedule. So, online applications start July 17th.
Okay, mid-July.
The deadline for standard registration with the normal fee is July 31st. Then there's a late period, August 1st to 7th, but that comes with a late fee.
Better to hit the first deadline then.
Ideally, yes. The actual exam date is set for August 27th.
August 27th, okay.
And then you can expect results and seat allocation details sometime in September.
So it moves pretty quickly once July hits. Good to have those dates locked in. What about passing? What score do you technically need to pass?
Okay, so the minimum passing score for MBBS is 65%. For BDS, it's a bit lower, 55%.
65 and 55%.
And importantly, your score is valid for 3 years. So if you pass but don't get admission, the score can be used again.
Right. But you mentioned competition earlier. These passing marks, they aren't really the target, are they?
No, not at all. Practically speaking, that's a really crucial distinction. Those are just the minimum to be considered eligible. Because the competition is so high, realistically, you'll likely need a score well above 90% to actually secure a seat in a government college.
Wow, 90% plus. Okay. So passing is one thing, getting admitted is another level entirely.
Precisely. Aim high.
Where can students in AJK actually sit for the exam? Are there centers across the region?
Yep. Within AJK, there are test centers set up in Muzaffarabad, Mirpur, and Rawalakot.
The main cities.
The main hubs, yeah.
Wow.
And for students who might be outside Pakistan, there are usually international centers available too. You'd need to check the PMDC info for those locations when applying.
Good. So options available. Now, let's say you do well, you get that high score. Where are the government medical colleges within AJK that AJK state subject holders can apply to?
Okay. There are 3 main government MBBS colleges for AJK nationals: Azad Jammu and Kashmir Medical College in Muzaffarabad, Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto Shahid Medical College in Mirpur,
Got it.
and Poonch Medical College in Rawalakot. Each of them takes in 100 MBBS students.
So that's 300 MBBS seats total in AJK government colleges.
Exactly, 300 MBBS seats. For BDS dental surgery, the seats within AJK government colleges are much more limited. That's something dental aspirants need to keep in mind.
Right, 300 seats.
Yeah.
And we know the competition is fierce. Are there opportunities outside AJK for AJK nationals? Reserve seats, maybe?
Yes, definitely. There's a system of reserve seats in colleges across Pakistan specifically for AJK state nationals.
How does that break down?
Well, Punjab has the most, 39 MBBS seats and 6 BDS seats reserved.
Okay.
Sindh reserves 7 MBBS and 2 BDS. KPK has 8 MBBS seats. Balochistan has 2 MBBS seats. And interestingly, the federal area, Islamabad, actually has 10 MBBS seats reserved, which is the highest single location outside AJK.
Wow, okay. So quite a few options scattered around.
Yeah, Dr. Amir showed a chart in the webinar that detailed all of these. Plus, there are other quotas too, like for refugees, individuals with disabilities, children of doctors, sports quotas, and so on. So other specific categories might apply to some students.
Worth looking into all those potential avenues then. You mentioned rising competition. Can we put some numbers on that? What were the recent closing merits like?
Yeah, the numbers really tell the story. Last year, the open merit closing percentage for AJK admissions was 89.1%.
89.1, that's high.
It is. And it's been climbing. It was 87% the year before that, 2022, and 87.6% in 2023. So you see that steady upward trend.
Definitely getting tougher each year.
Absolutely. And even looking district-wise, last year, Muzaffarabad district closed at 83.8%, Mirpur at 85.2%, self-finance closed at 80.1%, and just as an example, Kotley students got 33 seats across the 3 AJK colleges. It shows that local competition matters too.
Those figures really hammer home the need for serious preparation. Which brings us to the syllabus. You mentioned changes for 2025. That's vital info.
Absolutely vital. Yes, PMDC has revised the syllabus for 2025, and it applies everywhere, including AJK.
Okay, where can students get hold of this new syllabus?
It's easily available. The makers have put it up on their Facebook page, their Instagram, and their WhatsApp channel for download.
Digital copies, great.
And if you prefer a hard copy, you can get one from the makers directly at their center.
Okay. And these changes, are they just minor tweaks or more significant? You mentioned biology and chemistry earlier.
They're pretty significant in some areas, yeah. The syllabus outlines topics in more detail now, and like we touched on, biology and chemistry have seen substantial changes. Quite a few new topics added, and some old ones removed.
So you can't just rely on your old FSC notes entirely.
Not entirely, no. You must align your studying with this specific 2025 syllabus. Physics, as we said, is largely the same, but for bio and chem, updating is key.
So even if someone did really well in FSC, they still need dedicated MDC prep. It's a different beast.
It really is. FSC prep covers broad knowledge, essay questions, short answers. It builds the foundation. But MDC is purely MCQs. It's about speed, accuracy, and tackling tricky multiple-choice options under pressure. You have to train your brain specifically for that format and, crucially, for the revised content.
Right. How should students approach studying for these MCQs then? Any specific strategies?
Well, understanding the types of MCQs is important. They aren't all the same. And learning specific techniques to answer them efficiently. Dr. Amir mentioned the makers provide guidance on this.
Okay.
And practice, lots and lots of practice. He recommended aiming for at least 50 MCQs per subject per day, just to build that speed and familiarity.
50 a day per subject. Wow.
It builds stamina, and mock tests are absolutely essential. Simulating the real exam conditions, the timing, the pressure is probably the best way to prepare for the actual day, improves your processing speed.
Yeah, those mock tests sound crucial for managing the time pressure. Any tips for the actual exam day itself?
Definitely. First, remember, no negative marking. So attempt every single question. Don't leave any blank.
Good reminder.
Use educated guessing if you have to. Apparently, the makers teach specific techniques for that, too.
Interesting.
Also, be wary of answers with absolute words like always or never. They can be right, but often they're distractors. And finally, time management is king. You've got roughly 1 minute per question. Don't get bogged down. Keep moving.
1 minute per MCQ. That's tight. Okay, solid advice. Now, for students in AJK feeling maybe a bit lost in all this, how can an organization like the Makers help? What's their role?
Well, the makers, their core team, has a really strong background. We're talking experienced educators, like 10+ years teaching, PhDs from abroad, researchers, people who've written textbooks and papers.
A real expertise there.
Exactly. They understand how students learn, what works, and the specific demands of exams like the MDCAT. Dr. Amir pointed out their track record. Apparently, 60–70% of questions in their past test series for board exams showed up on the actual papers.
That's quite a claim.
It suggests their material is well aligned. Beyond just teaching, they also help with the whole application process, which can be confusing. They provide support, make the syllabus easily available, like we said.
Okay.
And they even guide students interested in applying to places like Aga Khan Medical College, which is a top-tier open merit option with its own test. It's another avenue worth considering.
So, a pretty comprehensive support system.
Yeah.
What else should listeners know about the Makers? How can they connect?
Yeah, they're really aiming to be a high-quality platform. They have a video coming out soon introducing the team, including the MD, Kaleem Shabir, to give students a better feel for who they are.
Okay.
And because some of their team have international PhDs, they even have links to help with studying abroad, like in China, if that's an interest.
Useful connections.
For connecting, Dr. Amir really pushed subscribing to their channel, following on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all the usual places to get updates and materials. They welcome questions via text or comments, too.
Right.
They've shared a contact number for queries. And importantly, registration for their MDSAT prep is open now. Early registration is probably a good idea.
And where are they based physically?
They're located at Asri Stamp College in Cotley on the Bypass Road. All their contact details, website, email, phone were shared during the webinar and should be easy to find on their social media.
Great. Lots of ways to get in touch and get help. So let's try and wrap this up. What are the absolute key takeaways from this deep dive for students facing the AJK State MDCAT in 2025?
Okay, number 1, this MDCAT is crucial, mandatory. Number 2, preparation needs to be thorough and strategic, especially focusing on the updated 2025 syllabus with those changes in bio and chem.
Right. The new syllabus is key.
Number 3, understand the format, 3 hours, 200 MCQs, paper-based, no negative marking. Practice MCQs daily, take mock tests.
Time management, practice.
Exactly. And number 4, know the opportunities, the 300 seats in AJK, plus the reserve seats across Pakistan, but also know the competition is high, merit is rising, so aim well above the minimum passing marks.
Aim high, yeah. And remember, all this info, it's really designed to help you listening, to help you navigate this whole process.
Absolutely. Which leads to maybe a final thought for everyone listening to mull over.
Okay.
Given that rising merit and those significant syllabus changes we talked about, how are you personally going to tailor your preparation? What specific strategies will you use to not just pass, but really excel and grab one of those competitive spots? How will you stand out and master that new content?
That's the big question, isn't it? How will you tackle it? Definitely something to think about. For all the specifics on the syllabus and what the Makers offer, check out their channels, reach out to them. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.